Ann?
Well, I think the world would be a better place without human beings, actually. I think the world would be a much more peaceful place and a place where everybody could agree on the same things if we wouldn't be any human beings at all. And by that I would say that, I mean, as long as there are more than one human being on this earth, I think that we could quarrel about something. And of course...
But forgive me, a better place for whom?
Well, for the trees, the birds, maybe. I think that we have to believe in something, and we have to have our ideologies, and that hasn't, I mean, that may not be religions, that may be Marxism or Christianity or liberalism maybe or something else. A couple of days ago I had a very, very long conversation with my oldest son, who is 16 years old, and as a lot of 16 years old boys, he is a committed Marxist, which I am not. He wants to change the world, and he's planning the Great Revolution. We'll see about that. But then somehow he has understood that the last revolution, the last Marxist revolution, didn't at all succeed. And we had a long conversation. Why doesn't the revolution succeed? What is wrong? So why have all the great ideologies like Islam and Christianity as well, why doesn't they succeed? What is wrong? So it is an interesting dilemma. It doesn't only has to do with the religions. Why can't people get along? So it is a fundamental human problem, actually, that there is something in the way all the time, of course. But I think that there is a special problem, of course, with religions, because with religions there is an element of power. When someone says that I know what is God's will, and that is, of course, something extra.
Peter?
That could be an extra problem. But we can also see that element in some fascist movements, of course.
Yeah. So. I think you're absolutely right to draw the parallel between ideological movements like Marxism or fascism, for that matter, and religious belief, because what you get in all of these cases is a fixed set of ideas which becomes inflexible and which prevents you simply looking at the facts as they are and trying to say, how can we best solve problems? So, so you get under, anyway, the Marxist regimes we had, it wasn't possible to speak out freely in criticism of things that the regime was doing because the ideology, basically told you how you ought to think. And of course, even in science, as the famous episode of Lysenko shows, the ideology determined the truth rather than the open, inquiring scientific method. Of course, this has happened often in the history of religious beliefs too, that the church has stood against Galileo or scientific beliefs because it just didn't fit the ideology. So I think that the common thing here is that element, that's at least part of the problem. Now, I agree with you too that even without ideology, we humans are a quarrelsome lot, and we compete. We've evolved to compete, I guess, and that's part of the problem. So I'm certainly not suggesting that if we could get rid of religion, or even if we could get rid of religion and all ideologies, that the result would be utopia. I mean, to believe that would itself be a kind of ideology.
Mm. Yeah, and I think my point is also that rigidity, as you say, and fundamentalism is always dangerous, yep, with or without God.
Yes.
Mm. But maybe it is a bit more dangerous when God is involved, if someone claims that he or she knows exactly what God's will is. And I also want to say that in a lot of religious movements today, of course, there is a lot of different interpretation of what could possibly be God's will. Because the real danger is when someone claims that I know exactly what God's will is.
Georg?
Just a few replies to the two other panelists. Concerning the relativity of scientific truth and the preconceptions that will lead the experimentation and the interpretation, that is by and large true. But it has its limits. And the limits are the hard facts. And there is no more harder fact than DNA. And the DNA language is not subject to opinions or interpretation or politics. It is a language in which we are all written and the entire biology is written. And it can be read in the same way by an experienced molecular biologist or by a beginning student or by an automatic machine. There are no two ways of reading that. And I think the incredible revolution of the later part of the last century has been the solving of the structure and the code of DNA, which creates a totally new situation. And I think there is still a lot of subjective interpretation and in which way you go, but the text is there, and there is no other text. And all life has that text on this planet. It's, I think, an incredible fact. It's incredible, but it is true. Now, the other, you said, why can't people just agree and make peace, if I understood you correctly? Why is it that we always have strife? Again, I think that's part of our biology. We have been doing some work in Africa, and the clinical colleagues who have been the doctors of the Africans for many decades always told us that in a country, take Kenya for instance, the intra-tribal cohesion is very, very strong. And they emphasize that we Europeans cannot even imagine the warmth and the intensity of feeling within a tribe. But that is parallel with the most bloody strife between the tribes, where the other tribe is simply not considered human. I think it's part of our biology. There was a sociological experiment done a number of years ago in America where teenagers were brought to a summer camp, and they were all unknown to each other. They never met before. And they were given numbers, and those who had even numbers were one group, and those with the odd numbers were another group. And then it was measured how quickly does the sense of intra-group cohesion and intergroup enmity develop. It takes 2 days. And that is, again, just part of our biology. And we are evolved to have a certain sociology. Now, you said the planet would be a nicer place without us, but for whom? And please don't be contemptuous to our brain, because it makes all those bad things, but it is the most incredible instrument that has evolved on this planet, and I can only admire it, for better or worse.